capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth. And we're not going to let it happen anymore.
Ahead on DC News Now at 4, President Donald Trump seizing control. His historic power grab now federalizing the DC Police Department.
Plus, how people are reacting to the president's new plans.
I think that he's very angry because of the climate in D.C.
And why some organizations are sounding the alarm about the potential impact to D.C. communities.
And temperatures on a rise, as well as a chance for some showers. We'll talk about the timing of when we'll see some rain here coming up.
From the acceptance letter to graduation day, student loans hang over the shoulder of millions. We're stretching your dollar with the best ways to tackle that debt.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back.
President Donald Trump says he is taking over the district. Thank you for joining us for DC News Now at 4. I'm Tosin Fakile. Mark Hall will join us starting at 6. The president today says he's placing the police department in the district under federal control and tapping a new head of the department. He also deploying the National Guard, about 800 soldiers that were activated today in an effort to crack down on crime. The president also making note of the beautification of the Capitol, removing homeless encampments. We have team coverage this afternoon. DC News Now's Randy Bass spoke to people who live in the city. First, let's head to DC News Now's Mariel Carbone. Mariel, the mayor just spoke for the first time since Trump's deployment. You were there. What did she have to say?
Yeah, Tosin, the main thing that we're hearing from the mayor is that this is an unprecedented move, and we're hearing from other officials that say the same thing. They say that this is an infringement on home rule, on our sovereignty, and that this shouldn't be happening. I want to go back to kind of what all of this means. So essentially today, Trump, the president, signing 2 different executive orders. One of them, as we mentioned, is to take control over the Metropolitan Police Department. So he is allowed to do this for 30 days under the Home Rule Act. So that is what he is doing today in this press conference. He spoke about naming Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, to oversee the police department, as well as Terry Cole, who is the administrator of the DEA, to lead the police department for the next 30 days. That is as long as he can do it under the Home Rule Act. Otherwise, there needs to be a change to the law by Congress. The second part of this is that he's ordering the Department of Defense Secretary Hegseth to deploy the National Guard. So we're seeing up to 800 National Guards members coming to the district over the next week. We can expect them out on the streets, and Hegseth saying that they will be working alongside the police department, other law enforcement agencies, to keep the streets safe and beautiful. So that is what we're hearing from the president. On the other side, we have the mayor saying today that Chief Pamela Smith is still in charge of the police department, and that any requests for the police to take action involving the federal government, that those requests would come from Pam Bondi to the chief, and then we would fulfill those requests. So she was really pressed today on if Trump is federalizing and taking over the police department or not, and the way she describes it from the executive order is that simply the police department will be offering federal help, and that requests come from Pam Bondi to Chief Smith, and that we'll be working in more of a collaboration. Now, I specifically asked her if there's any concerns that people in the community, as well as these other law enforcement agencies, will have any confusion on how people should be responding to law enforcement agents, who they are accountable to, who makes the decisions, who's in charge. Take a listen to how she responded to that today.
Everybody should follow the law, the police and the community. And that's the case now. It was the case last week, and it was the case the week before that. So nothing has changed about that.
Now, even with how the mayor has described the circumstances of all of this, she says she doesn't want to minimize what's happening. This is still unprecedented and something that she is going to be working with the federal partners. I know she said that she reached out to Attorney General Pam Bondi, and the chief today, she was also pressed on what this means for her leadership. She says after the press conference we had, which again just wrapped up about 15 minutes ago, that she would be meeting with those federal partners to really come up with a game plan for how to move forward and how to work within the areas of D.C. that need the most help and the most law enforcement response. So we could be hearing more from her in the coming days about that. But again, unprecedented move by the president here. We'll have more on this coming up on DC News Now at 5, 6, 7, and beyond. But that is the latest after just hearing from the mayor. Respond here at the Wilson Building. I'm Marielle Carbone reporting live for DC News Now.
Justice, no peace.
Meanwhile, reaction to today's D.C. federal takeover announcement and reaction pouring in from several parts of the district. We're hearing from Washingtonians, organizations, and the city's police union this afternoon. D.C. News Now's Randy Bass just outside the White House. Randy, you're getting mixed feelings about this move.
Yes, officers here in the district telling us this could mark a step forward in finding solutions to some of DC's crime problems. But community members we talked to shared several concerns about the potential impacts of more aggressive policing in the district. President Donald Trump today on his vision for policing in the district.
You tell them, you spit and we hit, and they can hit real hard. And they're standing there and people are spitting in their face and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want.
What do we do? Rise up like that.
Just steps away, dozens of people protesting his plans at a rally along 16th Street near the White House. Nene Taylor is a co-founder of the Free DC movement, worried about the impact of the president's plan on DC neighborhoods.
Black people are more likely to be stopped, searched, questioned, arrested, and harmed in encounters with the law. When we add the presence of federal agents or the National Guard to daily life in these neighborhoods, the burden can multiply.
Others reacting to the White House push for stronger criminal penalties for teens.
They'll always be in the system, which means they'll never be able to get a real job. They'll never be able to make a life for themselves.
Violent crime numbers in the district are down over last year. Even still, the DC Police Union says it supports the president's move to temporarily federalize the force, saying in part in a statement, the president's recognition of this crisis validates our ongoing concerns. The current state of affairs, marked by violent crime surges, historic officer shortages, and eroded morale, requires urgent action. The temporary federal takeover is a necessary step to stabilize the situation, but is not a long-term solution. Yes, and the union went on to say they feel the real path forward here lies within addressing officer shortages within the district and repealing some of the laws that are on the books here in D.C. The White House says to expect some of those law enforcement changes across the district here over the next several days. Live in Northwest D.C., I'm Randy Bass, D.C. News Now.
All right, Randy, thank you for that report. And here's the latest crime numbers from DC Police. Violent crime down 26%. Homicides, they say, are down 12%. Total crime, they say, is down 7%. And we have several statements from leaders from all across the DMV. To see those statements and more, you can head to our website, dcnewsnow.com. All right, it's time to get a check of our forecast with meteorologist Scott Sumner. Scott, it was overall not a bad day in the district, temperature-wise, and in the weather department. How are we shaping up as the day continues?
Well, it is a little hotter than the weekend, Tosa, but you're right. It wasn't a bad day at all. We had some early morning low clouds and even some haze out there this afternoon, but so far things have improved since we spoke at noon. Partly cloudy skies, 88 degrees is what we have outside our weather window as we speak this particular moment in time. And so we'll be seeing these type of numbers here, similar in other areas, not just the district. Now, this is an important number, of course. These numbers were low in the 40s and 50s over the weekend, especially on Saturday, meaning it was dry and very comfortable. But now these numbers are up into the 60s and are lower 70s. So that means it's a little more muggy, a little more tropical. I'm sure if you stepped outside this afternoon, you felt that mugginess out there. As a matter of fact, it's being shown in the heat indices being a little higher also than what we were just 24 to 48 hours ago, with lower 90s, even some middle 90s like Leesburg at 95 degrees at this particular moment in time. Now, unfortunately, none of this is going to go away. This muggy tropical feel, as noted by the Muggy Meter here, from Tuesday right through Saturday is showing, yeah, it's going to be up in there and it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. So, weather headlines here, a more humid night tonight than we have the last couple of nights. Mainly dry, though, and humid on Tuesday. Widespread storms on Wednesday. And, of course, we're watching the Erin and the tropics closely. Tosin?
All right, Scott, thank you. Baltimore Gas and Electric Company is asking customers to conserve electricity today. Now, they're doing this in order to reduce the potential for widespread outages. It's the result, they say, of a power plant experiencing an unplanned disconnection from BGE's electric system. But they're also telling customers to prepare for potential outages. So far, there have been no power outages reported. A Virginia man facing multiple charges after allegedly engaging in sexual acts with a minor. Fairfax County Police say Akbar Yunusi was taken into custody last week after coming back from Turkey. Investigators say parents of the minor called police after they say they caught him in a car with their child on Braddock Road in April. They also say Yunusi met the victim on social media and met the child multiple times to engage in sexual acts. Yunusi is being held without bond. A driver is in the hospital this afternoon after a multi-car crash on 495. This was in Montgomery County this morning. The crash involved 4 cars and a box truck near Georgia Avenue. Maryland State Police are trying to figure out what led to the crash. There's no word on the condition of the drivers. And attention for drivers, new ramps coming to GW Parkway, and it could impact your commute. Crews started construction today. The National Park Service says they're putting in new ramps at Route I-23 interchange east of Pine Tree Road in McLean. There will only be one southbound lane open on the parkway. All traffic will be detoured through mid-September. The Washington Commanders are looking to put Friday's preseason opener in their rearview mirror after losing to the New England Patriots 48-18. The team back on the practice field today in Ashburn, Virginia, working to iron out some kinks before their next preseason game 1 week from today. That game will be at Northwest Stadium, and they'll be hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Coming up in the 6 o'clock hour, we'll hear from the team as they ramp things up at training camp.